Alright guys, so today we're going to get a first look at the SoundPEATS TrueAir 2. Now what this pair is a pair of truly wireless earbuds that comes in at $40. It does have the open design like the AirPods, but it has some really impressive features, especially considering the price. But we're going to check out some of those specs, what you get inside the box, and see if it's worth the $40 price tag. Now to start with, it does say on Amazon that these use Bluetooth 5.2, although in the instruction manual it says it uses Bluetooth 5.0. So I'm not really sure which Bluetooth version it uses, but it does have Qualcomm's 3040 chip, and it also has aptX playback. And it's also using this new truly wireless mirroring technology, basically where one earbud is mirroring the other's connection. That way, if you're listening to one and you decide to pull the other one out of the case, it automatically is just going to pick up what the other one's listening to, and it just has this very seamless connection. Now, as far as the drivers being used in here, they are using a 14.2 millimeter driver, which is really impressive considering how small the earbuds are. And now as far as the IP rating, and I don't know if this is just because they are too new and there's not a whole lot of information on these, I couldn't find anything on which IP rating these have. So as of right now, I would just keep these away from water. Now, as far as what you're getting inside the box, because this has the AirPod style design where it does not use silicone ear tips, there are no included ear tips. And as far as the charging cable, it does come with a USB-C cable. And speaking of the charging cable, battery life I think is decent on here, especially considering the price, because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 5 hours, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 25. And speaking of the case, I think they did an excellent job with the design of the case. It is very small and compact. It's extremely light. It's one of those basically like once you put them in your pocket, you kind of forget that they're even there. Now on the side of the case, you can see the USB-C input for charging, and you can see that there's a single indicator light, but all that's good for is to let you know that it is charging or that it is fully charged. There actually is no indicator light to let you know how much battery life is left on the case itself, and that is definitely something I would have liked to have seen them do differently. Now moving over to looking at the earbuds, it does have the stem style design, which again resembles Apple's AirPods, and it does use touch control. And I'm happy to say that the controls control everything. So you have your play, pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, and even volume control all on the earbuds themselves. Now for you guys that like to use your earbuds individually, you'll be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And then as far as the microphones on here, I was also impressed with the quality from these as well. Each earbud has dual mics, and they're using the CVC technology so that it focuses in on your voice and blocks out all of your surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. Alright guys, so here is a mic test using the TrueAir 2s. Again, I think it does a very good job of picking up my voice. I think it sounds clear enough. You can tell that there's definitely a digital sound to my voice, but overall I don't think many people would have complaints on the other line of a call. And so here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And that way you can kind of gauge what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now before we talk about the sound, this is the part of the video where I like to play different sound samples. That way you can kind of gauge some of the characteristics of the earbuds. And then that way when I explain kind of what I feel, you can have your own opinions. But we'll go ahead and play some of those samples here. And so now that you guys have heard some samples, let's talk about the sound. I think that the sound is extremely impressive considering that $40 price tag. I think if you were to just hand these earbuds to somebody and just had them kind of gauge what they thought the price would be, they would never think this is a $40 pair of earbuds. And the reason I say that is even for the open design, the bass itself actually had some pretty nice kick to it. Now, it's not an overpowering bass. It definitely doesn't have that subwoofer type feel, but to be an open design and to be able to still feel that little bit of impact, I was impressed by. But what impressed me the most were the mids and the treble. They definitely tuned this up to where you can pick apart a lot of details. Vocalists always sounded very forward. I never felt like vocalists fell back no matter what genre I was listening to. Now, the treble on here is definitely turned up quite a bit. Now, it doesn't get too harsh, but it can have a little bit of a sparkle to it. And that just means there's a lot of attention to detail. Some people might find it too harsh if you're listening at louder volumes, because these definitely can get loud. But overall, I felt that it was really nicely balanced. I still, again, would maybe like a little bit of boost in the bass, but I don't know how much more bass you can get out of an open ear design. Now, as far as the soundstage and the sound imaging, I was extremely impressed with this, but again, that kind of leans to the open design because it makes you feel like you're in a much larger environment. And then the attention to detail that it has because of the mids being pushed forward and the treble being turned up, I had no issues with being able to tell where anything was coming from. So as great as I think these are, and as hard as it is to complain about a pair that's $40, I do have a couple of cons. One is the open ear design. It's just not one that I'm a huge fan of, but looking past that, I was still very impressed with how these sounded, and I do know that there's some people that just cannot do silicone ear tips. So I can respect that this kind of option is out there for those people. And then my only other complaint is I wish that there was an indicator light on the case so that I could kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case and not just have to guess. So overall, I think this is an excellent pickup for $40. It still shows how SoundPEATS is just one of those that's bringing a lot of value for the money. It does a great job with audio, especially considering this type of style normally doesn't. I was just completely surprised with how much I actually enjoyed these, and it's hard to look past these considering the price. But guys, that's my video on the brand new SoundPEATS TrueAir 2. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.